Yes. Okay, Michael, I've shared my screen, so you can go ahead.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so we're going to make a crown on this one, but I'm going to mirror image it. Now, this is a really crappy scan, but sometimes, you know, so is it. But anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at it from the front. So if it, my scanner imports it this way around. If your scanner, you can set it. You just go to File, Import, STL, and change this here, and then it'll bring it in correctly. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go RZ 270 degrees, which puts it into the front view. So I'm skipping that step because I'm going to use the articulator. Now, if we mirror imaging, we can't mirror image when the Z and the X axis is like that and the models are not correct, because we need the model to be in a certain position to mirror image these things. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into the articulator, and I'm going to name this upper and I'm going to name this lower, and we're going to import the mounting table. Now this mounting table, we can then change the model. So first we change it from the front, then we're going to look at it from the bottom, and you can see where these ovals are. So I'm going to rotate the model so that, and then I'm going to use a G key to bring that to the stopper. So this here, we call this little thing is the stopper. So I'm sort of looking at like a symmetrical appearance, if I can get it. You know, what's on the left is on the right. These are just for guides, you know, these ovals. So let's have a look at it from the right-hand side. I'm going to rotate it a little bit like this maybe. And I think that should be okay. Yeah, I'll just tilt it a little bit more like this. Maybe bring it up a little bit, something like that. All right, okay, and then I'm going to delete the mounting table. Okay, then what we're going to do is we're going to go into the wax up module. So usually we bring in the teeth, right? But I'm going to be using this tooth to mirror image onto that side. Now, how do we do that? So in the wax up module, when we look at where it says patient's teeth here, we can do it two ways. Either we can cut this tooth off using this menu here, or we can use this new tool here that we've got. So let's use this new tool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, let's just hide the lower, H to hide. I'm going to mask this. So what I'm doing is I'm just going to paint a mask. Now I wish this scan was a little bit more accurate, but I think it should do the job. So here we're just masking it, and we're going to just make it black, something like that. And that's actually quite quick to do. It doesn't take long. Okay, so now that I've got it masked, I'm going to click on Duplicate Surface. Now you'll see that there's a surface that has been duplicated. Then with it being selected, I'm going to mirror image it. You see, I've already got a mirror image, which is absolutely awesome. Now you may still have to shift this mirror image around a little bit, but if you look at this, this is an open, it's an open mesh. So what we're going to do is in the wax up module on the Pontex, we're going to look at this from the top, and we're going to close the mesh. So we can see it's been closed, but I want to take it one step further, and we're going to change to the bullet shape. So here we've got a bullet shaped tooth. So basically it's already like a tooth library, okay? And we can still change that. If we want to, we can use the G key and the R key or whatever, just to make it like a tooth library tooth. But I want to take this one step further, and I just want to smooth this tooth a little bit. So we can go to the
Sorry, Michael, you've cut out for...
geometry in the wax up module. Or we can use this new tool here. Am I there?
Yeah, you're back.
My connection is unstable. So here, this has remeshed it in a certain way, and you can remesh it in. If you increase this, the mesh structure will get smaller. So okay, then I'm going to apply that, and I can, if I wanted to, I can smooth. I can put some effort into this, but I don't think I need to put that much effort into it. Maybe I'll just smooth it down a little bit. So in the model designer or somewhere else, look for a sculpting, smoothing tweak, smooth like this. Yeah, that's good. That's fine. Something like that. Perfect. Excellent. Okay, exit. So let us go to the crown module. So we've got all of our components. This is my working model. This is my antagonist, and this is my tooth. Okay, the tooth has been hidden away, but it's there. We're going to go and we're going to then create our margin. And that's quite easy to do. We select the die and we go extrude, and we're going to draw our margin. So when we get to the other side, we can click fuse, or you can go shift left click the other side. I'll just click on fuse, and then we're going to create the surface, upper surface. And then of course we do the same thing with the other side. So here we're going to mark the actual contact. So at a certain 45 degrees will come up over the tooth. But just to save some time, I have actually saved a file here already. Okay. So the next step is we're going to take our surfaces and we're going to survey these surfaces. And here we're going to make sure we get a good survey, path of insertion, and then we're going to block it out. And that will then turn blue. Okay, we're going to select our contacts and eliminate those from the next algorithm. So then we're going to select this one and we're going to create our like a support margin. I'm going to select this one again and create a spacer in my zone. And by the way, we've got my preference. So this is in a different folder where we can code this for you if you've got a different preference.
So is that for the die spacer and the safety zone? So custom settings.
That's correct. So we're going to view the antagonist. We're going to create a cutter for the antagonist, which is going to be offset at 0.1. We're going to select our tooth. Notice that it's standing a little bit like this. So I may want to change it a little bit because I'm going to bring it out a little bit. So using the G key, bring it out a little bit. Maybe not quite as much. I can rotate it a little bit. Maybe something like that. Maybe I'll rotate it, the neck out a little bit like this. Yeah, something. Yeah, that's looking better. Okay. So you may have to manipulate it a little bit. So once I've got that done, we're going to go into live trimming. Now, please update your modules because some of our users have said this is very sluggish. So we've changed that to the old Blender Boolean cutting tool, the Boolean cut. So here, this doesn't need much explaining. This is a live cutting tool. As I move it, you can see that this is going to move with it. So if I use G, you can see how it moves with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim this now. And then following that, we can then go and generate this crown. So here, what I'll do is I'll just briefly bring this a little bit up like that. That's good. And let's generate this crown. So once you get to know it and you look at the tooltips are very helpful. Here we've got a mirror image crown. There's one thing still missing and we need to make our contacts. So I'm going to select these, contact cutter, select my tooth, go to the shape contacts. I'm going to hide my segment like this, and I can inflate my contact like that. I can inflate my contact on this one. We're going to cut these, and then we can smooth that a little bit as well, just like that and like that. And that completes my crown. Okay. Looks good.
Yeah, I like the new
Happy.
mask tool that you've included, Michael. It makes it really quick to duplicate a tooth.
Yeah, especially like if you've got a bridge or something, you know, you may have a bridge and you want to just take the bridge to the other side.
That's right.
So yeah, and then all you do is you export it, go to the bottom menu here, finish export. That's going to duplicate it to the center blender. We're going to leave it with the inside facing up and then export it. So that's good. So are there any questions before we move to the next one? All right, I'm going to move to the next one now. We're going to make two copings. Again, RZ 270 degrees to bring it this way. We're going to go to the crown module. This is my working model and this is my antagonist. And we're going to hide the antagonist. We're going to swing it over because this is how we usually make our copings, like upside down, drawing our lines. We don't draw our lines like this way around. It's very difficult. Maybe it's something you get used to, I don't know. Okay, draw. And we're going to just mark the margin. I'll just do it quickly, so I'm not going to be as accurate as what I usually am. So let's just take this all the way. When you get to the other side, you can just click fuse like this and then cut. Because we're working on the upper, click on upper, otherwise it's not going to work. It may not work properly. Okay, we're going to do the same on this side. And we're going to cut the upper again. Now we don't have to worry about contacts because these are going to be copings. We're going to select both of them and we're going to survey. Okay, something like that. That's looking good, and block it out. So that then turns blue. Once it turns blue, we have to put a support margin on it. So I'm going to select both of these at the same time. I'll put a 0.2 millimeter margin. That's 200 microns. I'm going to select both again, and I'm going to click on Auto Spacer and Zone. Now, when we're making copings, it's very important that we have a green zone because that is the starting point of actually making these copings. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go down to the coping menu, which is here the crown menu. It's quite a long menu, isn't it, Wolfgang?
Yeah,
so many tools. Okay, I'm going to expand this outwards a bit. Okay, so we need to select. We have to separate these. Okay, separate. I'm going to select this one, and we're going to create a coping layer. This coping layer we can adjust. It's 500 microns, 0.5. We're going to accept this. Then I'm going to take this one. Again, make sure if you can't select it, that's because it's disabled. Select this little arrow. Okay, so now with it being selected, very, very important to select the coping, nothing else. Create coping layer. We'll leave that at 0.5 as well, and we're going to accept the thickness. Then what we're going to do is we're going to look at it, and I'm going to go edit mesh. Now, when we're editing mesh, we always have to be mindful of two things. One is the snap magnet tool, and the other one is the proportional editing tool. Now, I don't want it to snap anywhere, so I'm going to disallow the magnet, okay? So then what I'm going to do is with my mouse wheel, I'm going to move this to where I want it to move, because we want to create some support. It's very important with when we're creating copings. So something like that. Object mode. I'm going to do the same with this one. Make sure the blue is selected, which is called coping. Edit this, and I'm going to do the same. Disallow the snap magnet tool. Use the G key. Move this outwards like that. Now you can view the lower model if you want to as well, just to make sure that you're giving it the correct support that you need. So where's my antagonist? Here's my antagonist, so you can see. Once you're done with that, make sure it's selected and click Generate Upper Coping. Okay. We'll just wait for that to generate. And then we're going to move on to the other one. There's one, and generate. So this is actually quite easy to do, and you'll find that these copings are then 0.5 millimeters thick, depending on, you can change that depending on how thick you make them. And then what I'm doing here is I'm just giving a quick smooth. You can smooth them both at the same time, but at this stage I've just taken one and then the other one. Smooth coping. All right, so let us have a look and see what these copings actually look like from the inside. So let's tilt them upside down. We can see the cement layer. We can see our margin of 0.2 millimeters, 200 micron. So it's looking good. We've got a very nice clean mesh, and I'm sort of 100% happy with that. You can create a collar there as well. We've got this in the video, outlined in the video. So that's looking good. Are there any questions related to the copings, making copings at this stage? I think I'm on my own here tonight.
Well, I've got a question. How did you do this so quick?
Wolfgang, I designed this motor vehicle. I know how to ride it.
Too funny.
I know where the gear lever is and the petrol cap. So it takes a while, you know, but once you understand how it works, it's relatively easy. It's very easy.
And
Okay.
the first part of it is very repetitive. So whether you're making a crown or coping, it doesn't really matter. It takes it to a halfway mark, and then you branch out into whatever you want to design.
And the thing is, you can change your mind if you want to. You can go X delete this, then you can view the green zone again, and you can make a new coping, or you can create a crown. So you'll just import your tooth library and then put a crown instead of making a coping. So it's actually quite flexible. This is like the halfway mark, you know, when you camp at in the Himalayas at the bottom of the, you know, Mount Everest, that's the base camp, you know. Okay, so let us move further. Okay, we're going to now make a new file. So there's nothing really planned here. So I'm going in the dark here. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to bring in a component. Okay, so we're going to look for a component, say, let's take maybe a dentarum component, and we'll just have a look here. Here, we'll just, no, let's take a more difficult one. Which one was a difficult one?
Yeah, those
These
are
here.
quite tricky, yeah. Because they have anti-rotation slots as well as undercuts in them.
Actually, let's take a more difficult one. The ones that's open on both sides. I don't know. No, that's not the one. There's one really tricky one. Here, something like that. That opening needs to be closed. So unfortunately, some of the implant components which are supplied from the companies, they don't have a layer that goes over the top, like an open geometry abutment, which is offset. And this is really frustrating because, you know, we can't ask our users to make these things. So we need to regard this as a die because, I mean, this one here has an entrance hole over here. It's got another hole over here where the screw goes in. So, you know, it's quite tricky because this is a screw retained and a screw retained. So it retains the abutment and it retains the crown. And we're going to have to be very clever in how we're going to design this. Okay, so let's try this out. So in the crown module, we're going to go to the menu where it says
This one's just been recently added. I just want to say that. So
yeah, that's in the 2.93. Implant abutment closure. Okay, so this part is numbered. Okay, it's got a number, it's an order number. Okay, this is what the suppliers give us. And we want to keep this number. So what we're doing is we're duplicating this. When we move this into the collection, it duplicates it and puts it into an original abutment collection. This is a duplicate model. So just follow the tooltips exactly like what we're doing. So then shift right to click to place a cursor, and we're going to draw a hole, draw a line around the hole. Now, this little thing snaps to the vertice actually very well, actually. So we E left click and then E left click, and we're going to go around this hole. So this is what we would do in the lab situation as well. If we've got nothing, we'd actually make a die out of it. We'd fill that, we would fill this with wax and then put it in the hottie or whatever to make a coping. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to extrude now across this rim as well. So if you've got two holes, you're going to do this one, block out one and the other one. Here we've got basically one hole like this. Okay, now we need to fuse from here to there, but we can't do this now because what happens is this happens. Okay, we don't want that to happen. So we're going to accept the line. Then that gives me an opportunity just to snap them like that. And we're going to make a face, sorry, an edge, but using F. Now what we're going to do is we're going to close this hole. So close hole. And that's closed it off. And this is my die. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the crown
Michael,
module up top here.
can I just ask you a quick question here? Now the user has done, the user has made one of these. Can we just save those and then keep this part for future, you know, reference? If you're working with this part again, you can just import it.
Well, it's not lost.
Yeah.
Here's the original part, okay?
Yeah.
And this is the die. So it's exactly like having a tooth prep.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
But we can
So
save that. We can save that, and then if we come across a case like that again, we'll just import it.
Actually, that's quite good. Yeah, that'll save you from having to make it. So you export it as an OBJ file, put it in the assets folder. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, keep it in your component library for reference. Maybe take a screenshot so you've got an extra thumbnail image, and then you can use that component. You know what I mean?
All right, so let us do this. Okay, so we'll just make an outline of the margin here. So we needed to remesh this, otherwise we're not going to get a good result. You know, some of these abutments they don't have many vertices. So to make a die is like, it's really difficult. So we needed to remesh this. So let us create a surface, okay? And then what we're going to do is we're going to take this and go exactly through the same stages. So this becomes, it's green, so we know we have to go to survey. Okay, let's survey this. Survey from the top and block it out.
So if you've got undercutting ridges, for example, a temporary abutment, some of those have got
Yeah,
a lot of little rings in them, that would now
exactly.
block the whole temporary abutment out.
Exactly, Wolfgang. That's the whole idea, because then you can take a temporary titanium and create a crown on top of it. Okay, let's just make our support margin over here, and then what we're going to do is we're going to create our space in our zone. And then I'm going to import a tooth. Okay, so the wax up, import generic closed meshed tooth. I'm going to, I don't know which one I'm going to choose. We'll just choose this one.
Maybe chop the root off or make it smaller. Don't know.
No, no need.
Okay.
No need. Okay, we're just going to this is just a hypothetical example, of course. Let's just take this across. Yeah, that should be okay. Let's just move it like this and like this. Let's give it a really, really difficult position. Okay, so we do know that we've got to remesh it. This is always the thing that in the crown module, we're going to remesh this tooth, and we can easily do that by putting it into the collection. So here, teeth to collection, because at the moment the tooth mesh looks like that. Okay, we want it to look like this. Okay, so what I'm going to do is from here on, I'm going to take a chance and see if it's going to generate. So generating and generate lower crown. Okay, perfect. Look at that fit. Beautiful.
I played the drum roll.
In your head.
Yes.
Like magic, isn't it? Just
yeah,
like magic.
Well done, Michael.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're just going to smooth this nicely, like this. Smooth this nicely. Here, like this. All right, so here we've got our complicated abutment. And now we need a hole, because we know this abutment is going to get screwed in from the top here. And then we need to screw it in as well. So this becomes quite tricky, actually. And this is where we need to use our heads. So what I'm going to do is, this is the die, okay? So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to hide this segment, and I'm going to take out the original. This is the original because the original has the blender coordinations. At the moment, they're 0 because I brought it up into the center. But if we had it anywhere else in 3D space, it would have coordination here. And this is exactly what we want, because we want to snap a cylinder into that position. So what we got here in the crown module, in this very same menu here, we've got here where we can create a hole maker. So select original abutment and create a hole. So this is my hole maker. Now you're going to have to know how thin the screw shank is. So I'm going to rotate it and use the G key and look at it from this angle. Now this is a bit tricky. This is not a standard thing. I'm going to make it thinner, scale it, and you're going to need to know how thick that shank is. Okay, so assuming we've got it correct, okay, we're going to then take this and we're going to make a hole. Okay, so this has made a hole in it like this, but we need the head of it as well. So this we need to again scale it, and we need to know the head size. So it's not an easy task. Take that and then make another hole. You see how it's created, you know, for the head to sink in there, and that's about it. Okay, and so I'm going to hide the screw hole, and we've got a nicely shaped crown here, as you can see here. Okay, tricky. It's looking good. Okay, let's have a look and see how that looks. Maybe in wireframe mode. Yeah, looks nice. Okay. So finally, I wanted to do one more, which is easier. Also, a new file. Okay, this time around, we're going to take a component, but it will have. Oh, now I've clicked on this, Wolfgang. This is like really nonsense. We've got a bit of a problem here with the simple asset manager, which we're trying to. We thought we had fixed it, but obviously it's not.
It works on many computers. It works on my other computer, Michael, and on my new.
Okay,
it only involves the search feature, so you can still look for your components, no problems there. But
it's a search.
The search that magnifying. So we're working. We're on top of that.
Yeah. Okay, so let's load it. So when you press this twice, that's what's happened. But anyway, okay, so let's take a Medentica abutment this time around. And I'm going to choose a Straumann, say, for example, maybe a 4.8. Let's bring that one in the scene, okay? Now, you see, these people have their abutment on there, you know, like an open geometry. And we need that open geometry. So I'm going to select the top of it, B key for box select, and link it. Now we can take this and move it. We can snap it to our implant or whatever we have. Now, in the guide module, it works a bit different. No, in the Crown Bridgework module, it works a bit different. Now, assuming this is in the correct position, we then bring in our tooth, as we usually do. Where's my tooth? Okay, so here, import generic. And let's grab a tooth. We'll just take the same tooth. Yeah, this one here. I don't know why the Blender guys did that, hey Wolfgang.
Yeah.
Usually my code actually gets rid of it when we're starting from the beginning, because now I've just skipped a whole chapter with models and everything. All right, so assuming we've got it like this, what we want to do is we want to connect this up, right? So we're going to, in the crime module, again, we need to put this into the collection to remesh it, okay? So now we've got a nice mesh. The next thing I want to do is I want to take this and we're going to create a tube. So right at the bottom, well, almost at the bottom here, we're going to select this open abutment, which has an edge loop going around it. Some of our users have tried this with a closed abutment and it doesn't work because we need this edge loop to fuse to our tooth library, okay? So, all right, so where's my tooth now? What have I done with my tooth? Did I bring in a tooth?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, okay, it's in the restoration folder. That's correct. Here, restoration folder. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hide this one. We're going to create a tube, and this will make a tube of 1.2. So it's 0.6 going this way, and it goes 0.6 on the inside. So it's 1.2 millimeters. So if you want to make, it's like a safety zone, but it also it becomes part of the crown. So if you wanted to make a thinner one or thicker one, double that up, it says ×2. So at the moment it's 0.6 millimeter thick, which is quite a millable or pressable thickness. Okay, so we're going to accept this, and then it becomes a tube, and we've got our hole cutter with it. And now all we need to do is we need to select this and then generate implant fixture. So this one fuses with this one, cuts it, and fuses it to my abutment, my open geometry abutment. And this is just a spare one like this. Okay, so it's very, very easy to do this. And we're going to just smooth that down. All right, so notice how it's actually taken on the actual shape of the underlying abutment the way it was earlier. Okay, so we're going to exit this, and then we're going to create our hole again. So we're going to go up there like this, take this, and then cut the hole here. Where am I now? Here. Excellent. Okay. No, this is not created. Maybe there was Boolean. I don't know. Okay, let's just try this again. Yep, that's it. Perfect.
So you just sized it a bit.
I just sized it microscopically, you know. But notice that it's got like a rim going around it. And thanks to Lewis, because he's pointed me in that direction, because the milling, some of the milling machines, they don't recognize it if it's like really smooth and it goes in nice, you know, very smoothly. So yeah. Yeah, so that's the other way of doing it. Excellent. Okay, it's looking good. Great. I hope you enjoyed that. That was a bit stressful. That was a lot of work.
No, I think you cruised it really well.
Okay, I'm going to stop sharing my screen.